MLS, new stadium, new projects. Same old Darwin Quintero takes a deflection, he scores! Incredibly, DC United celebrating what looks to be the game-winning goal. Ruiz, he'll have a go! He did it! He beat Stephen Fry!
The team has to understand that championship teams are able to close games out like that.
To become a really top team, you have to be able to go through tough moments.
The shot! Oh, what a shot!
Week 10 of the MLS season is upon us. More rivalries, more debates, more goals. Jillian Sakovits, Calen Carr here. Let's get into it. On Saturday, now I gotta ask, is this rivalry real now? Orlando, they got their first ever win, ever, over Atlanta United, and they just seem to be firing on all systems. Atlanta, meanwhile, they seem to be shaking things up. They are 1-1 under Steven Glass. Sorry, Calen.
Yeah, no, you got it. And who else got it is Darwin Quintero against his old club. They'll be playing against Sporting Kansas City. Gianluca Busio. Yeah, he may have been dropped back into the midfield, but he can still score a goal.
Meanwhile, Josie Altidore back at it. Toronto, their 18-game regular season unbeaten streak ends against their rivals Montreal on Tuesday. Meanwhile, Vancouver, they were shut out by Toronto in 2 matchups, but it was 21-year-old Thomas Hasal who made 12 saves in those 2 games.
21. That's ancient, Jill. Come on. 16 is the new 21. Cade Cowell gets his first goal. And also, on Colorado, some youth coming through. Cole Bassett, the 19-year-old, opens his 2020 account.
You are making me feel old, Calen. Wednesday night, it took a goal at the death from Eric Sorga. The death, I mean, in the final seconds in DC United, they win it 1-0.
Yeah, Philadelphia Union. Kasper Shabilka was the MLS Player of the Week last week, but it just didn't quite work out for them. The Red Bulls, they're going to stick to their ways. I want to see this matchup again. I love these ones in the East.
Bruce Arena, thrilled to be back from suspension. Matt Turner for New England has been so solid as of late. Back-to-back MLS Teams of the Week for him. As for Chicago, homegrown defender Mauricio Pineda bagged a goal against New York City and helped keep the fire.
Did you say Bruce Arena thrilled? I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Don't you know
in
him?
real life. Well, this one is going to be fun. Hell is real. Maybe not a lot of goals, though, if Cincinnati has anything to say about it. They have been tough to beat. Lucas Elarian, he's scoring bangers, but yeah, got to see what happens in Ohio on this one.
Minnesota taking on Real Salt Lake. Are the Loons, are they as good as we think? Put that one on the board, Adrian Heath. Minnesota has lost their last 3, but RSL doing RSL things.
I like that one. This one, 2 former Red Bull players, Dax and Luis, they're talking. And look, this goal from Godoy was big in the last one. Another rematch here. Nashville 2-2-2 in their last 6 matches under Gary Smith.
The battle for Cascadia, maybe the best rivalry in MLS. Portland, Seattle, Mr. 80-80, the maestro, Diego Valeri. He becomes the 3rd player to score and assist on 80-plus goals in MLS history.
Could Chicharito return in this one?
What? Who?
Who needs him? I mean, they got Efra scoring goals. And speaking of scoring goals, Diego Rossi, I mean, this guy, he just cannot stop.
Who else cannot stop? That's the Columbus Crew. They grabbed the top spot with 20 points, 6 wins so far on the season. And then check this out, Calen. NYCFC. They are climbing their way up the Eastern Conference standings, winners of their last 3 games.
Jill, do you know who else is climbing up the table?
Who?
The LA Galaxy. Watch out. No Chicharito, no problem right now. Once you add him and Jonah back into the mix, they might continue to climb. In Seattle, they have been impressive coming out of MLS's back. Tied their last match, but man, they have been scoring goals. And Jordan Morris, who we will talk about shortly, he has been fantastic.
Calen, we talk about all the rivalries, all the big matchups. These are coming at you thick and fast with the way that the first phase of the MLS schedule was set up, with regional opponents. It feels like we're in for a El Trafico every other day, and I am so here for it.
Yeah, well, of course you're going to go with the El Trafico references here, or the LA Derby, whatever you want to call it. I'm more looking at the SKC versus Houston matchups because they're throwbacks to my old school days. And I look, anytime you play any of these matches, we've seen it in the Hellas Real Derby, we've seen it kind of throughout the league. When you play teams over and over and over again, especially in a short, condensed window, as we have now in MLS, you start to see a little bit of bad blood, and not necessarily, of course, with the same energy or enthusiasm from the fans, but that starts to matriculate a little bit onto the pitch. It becomes tough to break down. You have that familiarity with the other team. So it starts to be a little bit of a tactical battle, as well as a will of strength to see who's kind of up for it most in these big rivalry regional matches.
Calen, Chicharito Cam is in full effect. The man himself could be making an appearance in El Trafico this Sunday. Yes, I said it, El Trafico. I'm sorry, not sorry. The Galaxy. They have won. I know. I heard you may not be welcome.
You're good.
Back
Do what you
this
feel,
show.
Jill. I support you.
Sorry. The Galaxy have won their last 3 games. Is now the time to bring back Chicharito?
Well, things are going well, so they have the luxury to ease him into the squad, and that has not been something they've been able to do. And it really matters to be able to come in and re-enter a team in a position where he may not be needed right away. He will play a huge role. This will be his number 9 position, of course, with a striker of his stature, but he just hasn't lived up to the billing as of yet. You look at that 3 games, 1 goal, 2 shots on goal. Jill, that's a Calen Carr week. That's a good Calen Carr week, actually. By the way, I was very good value, not getting paid quite the same. But I expect to see those numbers continue to climb, especially the way the Galaxy have been playing, the way that they have shifted their system, they have simplified, and they have created some accountability, I would say, within the side, being able to put the players on the pitch that are playing the best, and credit to the guys that have stepped in to play, and then Zubak as well. So they will be able to allow these guys to continue to play a role. He will allow to build his way back into the pitch the way they did with Jonah Dos Santos. And the Galaxy are on a roll right now. They have been one of the better teams to climb up out of the MLS's back tournament. The football has been good. You have not been able to say that for a while. They have been consistent. They have been honest in the back. And look, we know the quality of Chicharito. It's just a matter of time. He's been successful off the bench in the past. He'll be able to come into a game. Nobody will want to see that proposition of him coming into an open match. And then ultimately build his way into the starting number 9.
What do you say to those fans, Calen, that are like, but we're better without Chicharito? You know, those people who go crazy on the internet. This is a guy who's played for Real Madrid, Man United. I'm pretty sure he can deal with the pressure of still making his mark here for the LA Galaxy.
Yes, but I will say that the pressure at first did seem to be getting to him, or the lack of cohesion or understanding amongst his teammates, or even the way the system was set up was asking a lot of him. And we've seen in Chicharito in his past, he's not been the player that's going to dominate through the run of play. He doesn't need a lot of touches. He definitely doesn't need a lot of touches around the center circle or even in his own half. Hold up play. That's not necessarily what he needs to do. And what I actually think is working for the Galaxy is actually what we've seen from Ethan Zubak, which is just to have that energy, to have that pressure applied on the back line. And then you have Pavone, who's able to facilitate. You just sort of bump it and move off that, and then get in the box and create from there. So he's going to be a like-for-like sort of replacement for Zubak. Credit to Zubak for what he has done, as well as the other players who have stepped in, and they've done a fantastic job. But yeah, ultimately, this team is, if they want to reach their goals, if they want to be in the playoffs and potentially make a run, they will need Chicharito to click in, find form, and go. But I think the way this team is playing overall, the system that's been set up, and a little bit of the pieces around him now, you can see how he might fit in now, which before you couldn't have said.
Calen, the rumor mill is flowing. I think you know where I'm going to go with this one. There's reports out there that Atlanta United has sold Pity Martinez to Saudi club Al Nassr for a reported $18 million. You have to remember they got Pity for a club record $14 million about 18 months ago. What is Pity's mark on MLS if he is in fact departing the league?
Well, I don't know if he will be, I guess, remembered fondly of his time here, or that he lived up anything close to the expectations involved. You have to remember this was the South American Player of the Year coming to Major League Soccer, and I remember the videos we recorded after his signing of how this was the next Almiron, or the next player that could even be better than Almiron. And clearly that did not happen. And you can tell by the move and where the move is going to. I think this is a move clearly for both sides to say, hey, look, this just didn't work out the way we had planned it to. But also at the same time, if you're Atlanta United, this is why you go out and you make a signing like this with this level of ambition, and you get a young player who's the South American Player of the Year, because around the world, that value still is there, and they basically cut out the floor. They end up with 2 trophies in the meantime, with the U.S. Open Cup and the Campeones Cup. And yeah, they didn't get the best out of Pity as an individual. And I would say as a club, it didn't take them a step forward, but they also made 30% on their initial investment, at least. And to be able to do that during a pandemic and then open up a roster spot leaves Atlanta United still in a really good position to move forward.
This opens up a designated player spot, Calen, as you mentioned. So I don't think this is by any means waving the white flag on the season. This is still, by many accounts, I think a roster that some MLS teams would be jealous of. But you know what? I think on both sides, to your point, perhaps it's not working. We're 18 months in. Let's move on, make a profit, like you said, and build around a healthy Joseph in a couple of months, see what the guys can do. And again, let's get a product in front of the fans when fans can return. That is what Atlanta United wants. You look like you have one more point.
No, Jill, you hit it on the head. And
that's what that was.
No, you hit it right on the head, and I think that it is, in this case, addition by subtraction. And when you look at what Atlanta United have done in this time, where things have started to point at all in the wrong direction, you have to give them credit for, at least at that time, making a tough decision and moving on. And moving on in a way where they're actually able to get some return on their investment. But to say, okay, look, it's not working with Frank de Boer. All right? That was a surprise, but they moved on. And the same thing happened here with Pity Martinez, where instead of digging your heels in and trying to force something that just hasn't seemed to work for both sides, they've now created some flexibility to, again, rebuild. And I wouldn't say it's a lost season, because the East is still wide open and this is still a talented squad. But what they've done is make some decisions so they can actually plan for the future. And guess who? Joseph Martinez, when he comes back.
Reports are out, Calen, that Gonzalo Higuain will come join his brother, Federico Higuain, here in Major League Soccer, reportedly with Inter Miami. Is he the right fit to be the striker for Miami?
How far is Miami to D.C.? That's a quicker plane trip. Yeah. No, look, I actually thought for a second that he was going to join his brother, but then D.C. made some moves of their own. But for Inter Miami, I think this is actually a really great signing. Now, I think people will be a little bit disappointed, because when you hear the names they've been in for throughout, whether it's Cavani or Suarez, it's just maybe, as far as star appeal, just a step below that. But at the same time, I mean, this man has played for some of the biggest clubs and scored a ton of goals for some of the biggest clubs in the world. And Miami has been starving for goals. And I know Matthew Doyle, he's been saying they don't need a number 9. Well, I hate to disagree with Matt, but I'm going to have to do it this time. This team has lost every game they've lost by 1 goal. They have also, the only game they've won, they won by 1 goal. So they've been in tight matches and just have been on the wrong side of them again and again and again. They are tied for 2nd lowest in the league with Cincinnati for least goals throughout MLS. And look, he's only 32 years old. And when you look in the past as far as the signings that have come in, I'm going to go ahead and say it, but Robbie Keane, a player with far less pedigree than Higuain coming in, and the success that he had with the Galaxy. Now, hold on a second. I know people are going to say, yes, there was a certain David Beckham and Landon Donovan and Omar Gonzalez and some nice pieces that Inter Miami just don't have right now. But when you look for a club that has been desperate for goals, I think Higuain's going to be able to supply them in bunches.
Yeah, and if you add it to a guy named Matuidi, might look pretty good and help take a little bit of the pressure, I think, off of Pizarro's shoulder. So looking forward to that. And during the month of September, Major League Soccer and Continental Tire teaming up to raise awareness and funds for childhood cancer. Now in its 7th year, the Kick Childhood Cancer campaign aims to find better cures for all types of childhood cancer, and now more than ever provides support for one of the most vulnerable populations. On Wednesday in Atlanta, 10-year-old Calen became the Five Stripes virtual Golden Spike hitter. Calen is a member of Atlanta United's Regional Development School, and this past spring he was diagnosed with Burkitt lymphoma, and we are so happy to say that after 3 months of treatment, he was deemed cancer-free this July.
Morris with the speed for Mir all the way out. There's an empty net for Jordan Morris to finish into. Joe Apollo's got Morris open on the far side. There's another straight from the kickoff. 2 goals tonight, 1 minute, 1 second apart. Good night for Jordan Morris.
J-Mo, Jordan Morris. Calen, Steve Zakuani wrote a little article this week for MLSsoccer.com. It was fantastic. And he basically said that after Carlos Vela, Morris is the most dangerous attacking player in MLS. And something I know you've talked about and something that I've talked to Jordan Morris about when we had him on the call-up is he's 25 years old, but this is a guy who is always trying and to elevate his game. And we see it. I mean, who's been better than him, aside from Carlos Vela, over the last 12 months? So that's what I need to ask you, Calen Carr. If you had your pick of top 5 players, attacking players in the league, who would they be?
Well, I like that Zakuani, first of all, has already put number 1 clean and clear with Carlos Vela, because I've been saying that, sort of before everybody else was. Whoa, I just hit my mic there. I got too excited. But look,
you called it. You called Vela before anybody.
Doesn't take a lot of smarts there to figure that one out. And Joseph Martinez, we should say, I think he is leaving out, and I will, for the sake of this argument as well. I only say argument because last time I did a rankings, I had quite the Twitter reaction. But I'm going to agree with Zakuani in this sense. I do think Jordan Morris has been one of the most dangerous players in Major League Soccer. I think he has been fantastic. But I'm going to put him in at number 5 on my list, which honestly, when you look at the trend in Major League Soccer, we haven't seen any or hardly any Americans, maybe Josie Altidore when he's healthy, even getting into this rarefied air here. But Jordan Morris has been fantastic coming off the ACL and last season with his club, of course, winning the championship, and with the U.S. men's national team, consistently dangerous. Look, I think Ladero's fantastic. Rui Diaz is deadly, but he gives them something different that takes them to a whole nother level with his pace and movement in behind. So I think Jordan Morris has been right up there with one of the best players in the league, and he's been rested even at times from Schmetzer, and they've been careful with him. But I have to put Pozuelo just a notch above here, and partly this goes down to how fantastic his team has been. 18 matches, just one shy of the unbeaten record in Major League Soccer, and Pozuelo has done it every which way, whether it's goals, whether it's assists, and whether it's had to be as the number 9 himself. He has played multiple positions. He's connected, whether it's Altidore, whether it is Ayo Akinola, or if he's had to do it as the number 9 himself, he went similarly to Jordan Morris to the MLS Cup, of course, the Sounders winning that one, but he has been able to keep this Toronto FC team flying high. Just a notch above, I'm going with Christian Pavone. And look, yes, the numbers are not quite gaudy compared to the rest, but I'm going to factor in a little bit some of the turmoil and lack of cohesion, shall we say, that he's been sort of surrounded by with the Galaxy, but he has been fantastic. This year, I think, even been a step above, 5 goals, 3 assists already in 8 games, and just starting to click. I think it's scary from Pavone because we are only just beginning to see what this player can do, and I think the best is yet to come. As we take a step above, no Carlos Vela, who could it be? Well, I think that question has largely been answered already by the young Uruguayan Diego Rossi. I mean, he has been unable to stop scoring goals, and the question has been, well, was he benefiting from Carlos Vela and having that sort of counterbalance of teams focusing on one side and him being able to ghost into the back? But without Carlos Vela, we've been able to see him step up in a big way through the MLS's back tournament and then continuing on. I think 9 goals there, but when you count all comps, it's been 11, so I want to recognize that contribution. He's been able to step up in big moments, in big ways for his team, and is a reason why there are so many European clubs interested. So LAFC have not been at their best yet, but you couldn't take anything away from Diego Rossi. And then you add Carlos Vela back into that mix, hopefully within the next month and a half. That LAFC team, if they can figure things out in the back, have 2 of the most dynamic attacking pieces in Major League Soccer. We already knew that. I'd expect them to get back into form. But yes, Jillian, that is my top 5 in MLS. Jordan Morris, he's close. He's near the top. But I just can't put him yet as second best.
This week, is there anything this guy can't do? Diego Valeri joining the exclusive 80-80 club. 80 goals, 80-plus assists on his career. Joining some pretty heavy hitters in Moreno and Donovan on that list. And Calen, of course, we can't just be happy with 80-80. That begs the question, will he join the 100-100 club alongside Donovan and Moreno?
Jillian, come on, can we not just take a moment and enjoy greatness when it is right in front of our face? And look, you have to say Landon, Jaime Moreno, and Valeri. I mean, they kind of roll off the tongue as far as icons of Major League Soccer. He has been that fantastic. And look, people have said, all right, well, is he a super sub now? Is he dropping off his form? And I think there's no chance of that. I don't believe that. I never did. And when you look at his performance, yes, in heat and humidity, yes, MLS is back. You have to manage the minutes, but he has been fantastic, already 5 goals this year. And the team has gotten stronger. He's moved to a TAM deal. They've added Niascoda. They've gotten Ibobasi emergence. They've added protection and given Eric Williamson a chance finally, and he has taken it with both hands. Diego Chara supporting him. So he's got that balance of, yes, it can either be a goal or an assist. If you project it forward, that would be, 2 or 3 more years of productivity? I think he's got a chance. But either way, the type of player that Valeri is, I don't think he'll be too focused on that. It'll be more about the hardware. And I think for this Portland team, although they haven't looked their best in the last couple weeks, we saw in knockout play how dangerous they can be and how important a player like Diego Valeri is to that team. So, yes, an absolute legend. Congratulations to San Diego, the patron saint of Portland, and really all of MLS. I got to meet him, sit down with him once, and Connie, his daughter, fantastic. But 80-80, let's take a moment and recognize that. Can he get to 100-100? Yes, I think it's possible.
MLS Predict 6, presented by BetMGM. It's a weekly free-to-play game from Major League Soccer. Correctly predict the final outcomes of these 6 featured matches, along with secondary predictions such as which player or team will score first or how many goals will be scored. And you, Calen Carr, could win $50,000. So just head over to MLSPredict6.com and play for free. You see all of our matchups right here. Calen, who do you have?
Well, Jill, first I should say I am ineligible, as you are, to win the $50,000. Trust me, I have checked. But I continue to play each week because of the love of the game, and I've been doing all right. And I'm hoping to keep things going this week with Orlando City against Atlanta United because it's 2020. There's no Joseph Martinez, and the world is upside down. Orlando keeps it going, 2 matches in a row. No, but for real, they didn't start Nani. They didn't start Pereira in their last game. And you know what? I think the AT&T Rookie of the Year, Daryl Dike, may continue to stay on a roll. So I'm going with Orlando. Who you got?
That's like a dagger to my heart, Calen Carr. Overlooking Atlanta. How dare you? I am going with the Seattle Sounders over the Portland Timbers in the battle for Cascadia. Love this rivalry. But I have 2 words for you. Jordan Morris. I mean, him teamed up with Ladero, Christian Roldan, Raul Ruidiaz. I think it's just too much for the Portland Timbers to handle. But you know what? Let's see what Gio Savarese has to say about that.
Well, for my secondary pick, I'm going to really challenge myself. This one is going to be a little bit of a heat check because things have been going well. So Red Bull New York, I'm going to go with the first minute range. In the interest of being as specific as possible, I'm going to go between 20 minutes and 29-minute range for a goal. And if I'm going to just really, really get hot, I'm going to say it's Brendan Aronson because, yeah, I don't know. I just think that's the way it's going to go. So, I don't know. It's a heat check, Jill. Who you got for your secondary pick?
I love that, Brendan Aronson. Stick with the youth on that one. Secondary pick is total goals in El Trafico. Now going back to the beginning of forever in this 2.5-year rivalry, we've seen a lot of goals. And if my math is correct, which it's probably not, the average is 5 between LAFC and the LA Galaxy. So I am going 5 goals this weekend in El Trafico. Let's see. And coming up this weekend, Calen Carr. Let's take a look at every game. We have quite the lineup. Calen, I know the match you were most excited about, Houston and Sporting Kansas City. That's at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Do not forget, I'm picking Atlanta. No one asked me. Calen Carr is picking Orlando. That game on Big Fox Saturday night. So looking forward to that. Orlando fresh off of their first win over Atlanta, so you know Atlanta's going to look to squash that. And then a full slate on Sunday, including the Hell is Real Derby with Columbus and Cincinnati, capped off by the LA Galaxy taking on LAFC. And that does it for your weekend preview. Calen Carr, nice to hang out with you. I can't wait till I can see you and hug you in person, but this will do for now.
Yeah, Jill. Socially distanced hangs. I am coming back to Brooklyn pretty soon, so maybe some rosé in Domino Park from a distance, from a safe distance. What do you think?
You really know how to entice a girl to hang. I'm down for rosé. We'll bring Susanna Collins, Charlie Davies, Matt Doyle, the whole crew, and we'll have some rosé and, I don't know, look at the skyscape.
Let's do it. Sounds romantic.